Collaborative law approach is a very, very different one. It has a completely different feel. It's not me against you, it's what is best for everybody. So if you want an approach that gives you the most amicable and constructive outcome, collaborative law may well be the one you should look to first of all.
How do you get started, and how do I know that collaborative law is right for me?
Well, it isn't necessarily right for everybody. I think the real acid test is this. When you go into the negotiations, do you want what's best for you, regardless of your spouse? Or do you want what's fair to everybody in the family? And if it's the last, then collaborative law might be the right approach for you. And this is something you can discuss with your solicitor in a very first meeting when you're going through the options.
So what happens in a typical case? How does it work in practice?
There are a series of what are called four-way meetings. So in those meetings, both you and your spouse will be there, as will each of the solicitors. And the solicitors are there to try and promote the discussion. And it's a genuine discussion. So it's not, I'm trying to get the best deal. It's what's going to be fair for everybody. In the first meeting, you would probably set the scene. You'd sign up the participation agreement, the contract between the two of you as to what the ground rules are, and you'd set the agenda. The second meeting, if you're talking about finances, as you might well be, you'd then start looking at the data. So you'd go through the income figures, the expenditure figures, and you'd look at the housing needs. You know, do we have to sell this house? How do we divide the proceeds? What can I afford? And because you're sitting around the table talking about this firsthand, you cut all the nonsense. There's no posturing. It's what's real. The third meeting, you might have a really good go at sorting things out. Well, if this happens, you could get that and I could get this, but is that fair to both of us? You really start doing the hard work in that third meeting. And the fourth one, hopefully, you might be wrapping it up and saying, okay, we've got a deal now. How do we go about making that into a court order?
And how is the collaborative law approach different from other methodologies?
If I'm doing solicitor-led negotiation, it's me against you, so I'm going to try and get a better deal than you get. In mediation is still quite confrontational. It's two people trying to get the best for themselves. I mean, you are sitting around the table sorting it out. But in collaborative law, there is, I think, a much stronger emphasis on getting something that's fair for everybody. And of course, you have the solicitors there to help you. That makes it more expensive for the mediation, to be fair, but hopefully you can get a more concrete solution more quickly.